Japanese companies have a problem with Gen Z. Wait, I gotta make sure I didn't see this yet, because this is kind of my type of videos. You know what? That doesn't surprise me. Gen Z asks for better quality of life, and companies hate that because they want you to be a corporal slave. And as much as people have complained about Gen Z, I think they could actually bring a positive change to the world if they get their demands met. Hell yeah. Don't you guys want to work less? I sure as hell want to work less. I don't want to work until I die. What kind of life is that? I would play with Rima on FF14 all day on dailies. There was a moment in our Discord server where we were all playing Final Fantasy together. Unfortunately, I just don't have time to play video games anymore, but I'd like to reboot the Final Fantasy fan server. Need some people to like organize events in the Discord and hang out. That'd be great. Retirement is only good so long, so you would keep on working, Zayla? Alright, let's start this.
Poverty, climate change. But forget all that, because one of the more pressing issues many countries are noted to facing is of course Generation Z. And Japan is no different. So exactly what problems are the land of the rising sun facing with their Gen Z?
I'm an unemployed Gen Xer. It's impossible to... Which one is Gen X, guys? I forgot. It's impossible to find a job because no one wants to hire anyone who doesn't have a 5 to 10 years experience. God, that sucks. I guess I can relate to Zoomers in that respect. Can you... That's crazy.
Well, that's what we're going to explore in this video. In many aspects, the Gen Z of Japan share the same kind of characteristics as Gen Z in most parts of the world. They're digital natives, growing up in a world where the internet already existed, and during the rise of social media. Part of what this means is younger Japanese people are used to obtaining raw information about what is happening in Japan and around the world. Previous generations were, and many still, are used to gaining their information from traditional forms of media like newspapers and TV. In fact, a huge reason why traditional media is still thriving in Japan is simply because there aren't as many young people, with the average age being around 49, making Japan's population the oldest in the world. However, as many might have already known, traditional media is often quite selective on what is reported and tends to spin stories in a particular way depending on their audience base. What this has resulted in is a communication divide between Gen Z and previous generations on a range of topics.
Wow.
However, we are seeing...
So it's like the same everywhere in the world.
A rise in more older Japanese internet users within more recent years. But let's get to the main issue which is typically brought up when talking about Gen Z. Work. Japanese society is heavily centered around working, and nothing beats social credit like being a full-time employee, aka seishain, in a top company. Japanese company practices also typically require a level of commitment that goes beyond the job description, and being active in trying to get your boss to like you so you can climb the corporate ladder, which is also assumed to be something you want to do. Something else I don't usually hear about within other videos that discuss Japanese working culture is the view older generations take that company members are like family, where you'd be given a role like being the big brother or sister. This is actually used as a method to stop new grads from suddenly quitting by letting their senior, aka senpai, be someone they can go.
Don't trust them. Don't ever trust them when they say that. That is not true. But guys, always remember that we're one big happy family here.
Easily talk to. But we'll talk about the quitting issue in just a bit. Overall, the expectation for Japanese companies is that you'll stay within that company for life, being moved into different departments at the company's convenience. However, many of the Gen Z in Japan are seeing work differently, seeing it as just a place to work. I know, shocking. This has led to complaints from superiors that they aren't able to communicate and bond anymore with those below them, as many younger workers aren't as keen on chit-chatting and also refuse to go out drinking with their boss after work, preferring to prioritize their private time. Not only that, a big complaint about Gen Z when it comes to communication within the workplace is that they're too sensitive. Reasoning for this is the notable increase in the types of haras there are. Hara meaning harassment. The most common type of hara you are bound to hear about is sekuhara, which stands for sexual harassment. But now, different haras are constantly popping up, and many attribute this to Gen Z. For example, yumehara, yume meaning dream. Now, some of you might be scratching your heads wondering,
dream? Yeah, I don't want to dream with my boss. After I'm done with work, I want to go home.
what kind of harassment exactly is that? Essentially, this is when your boss or senpai asks you about your dreams, as in what you aspire to do. Some preferring to just not talk about their dreams or just not having any dreams in the first place, feeling that they were just put on the spot. What also counts as yumehara is
just lie. That's what they want. Bro, it's like when somebody in the interview is telling you, what are your defaults and what are your qualities? You're supposed to glaze yourself. No one's expecting you to say the truth.
when those superiors talk about their dreams, basically because the younger workers don't really care. There is also another...
My dream is to take your job, sir. Next question? Yeah, going out with your coworkers or one day invite you to like a nice, open bar at a nice restaurant. But I've turned down those too. Like work parties with a lot of people for Christmas at like really expensive places that were really hype, but I'm just like, I'm too tired. I just want to go home and stream. I hate when you have to keep up the pretense where you have to pretend that you're like happy here, and why can't you just be a good worker and not have to do this extra fluff stuff? It gets... Stop giving us the runaround.
The trait about Gen Z that is something we often hear about in the news. They easily quit. Yes, as I mentioned before, quitting is probably the biggest issue many companies are facing with Gen Z. Forget about staying for life, some quit.
Yeah, but they gotta offer them real benefits to them staying. And if they don't feel like there is, that they work too much for what they're paid for, of course they're gonna quit. As they should.
Within a year. What's also interesting is that some will choose not to say they quit themselves, but will use an agency that is specialized in quitting on behalf of their clients.
No way.
Yes, you heard that.
What? Wait, that is... Why don't we have that here? That is so cool. You don't even need to talk to somebody.
That right. Some reasons for this though are actually pretty understandable. You see, some bosses here simply don't say okay when you say you're going to quit. This is particularly in the case of clients who work at a black company. Some bosses will actually try to stop their employees from quitting, becoming really aggressive or even threatening them with some financial liability. Interestingly though, it actually isn't new grads that make up the bulk of users for this service. One agency even revealed it was less than 20%, but that the number was rising. Now, reasons why new grads are...
I would love to use these kind of agencies. Quitting for me has always been a problem. I was always so embarrassed and felt guilty to tell them or have that talk, so I would always put it off to later.
So quitting vary from things like finding out the company wasn't like what they were told during the interview to simply not getting along with their coworkers. But there is another trend: fear for the future. To be honest, this isn't just Gen Z, but many of the younger generation are concerned that they aren't obtaining the skills they need for future progress, or see their superiors are not getting pay increases, but are just doing double the amount of work. A lot of Japanese companies have put in effort to improve their work environments, from trying to decrease overtime to changing how superiors talk with subordinates, but even with great working conditions, if younger workers don't feel challenged, they'll look elsewhere. This is certainly a big change from older generations, but essentially it boils down to Gen Z wanting a good work environment where they...
I mean, it's also because during the crash, a lot of people got laid off, and they realized that all of those companies that said, hey, you're gonna be here forever, for a lifetime, we're gonna take care of you, your family, that was all a lie. So now they just don't trust them anymore. But the Japan aging population problem is a real issue, and it's the biggest crisis that the country is facing right now. It's also being reflected in the economy right now.
They also feel that their future is secure. The power balance has started to shift in Japan. It's no longer about what the employees can do for the company, but what the company can do for the employee.
Good.
Japanese companies that can't comply with those needs are going to continue to lose early stage workers. Okay guys, that's going to do it for this video. As someone who has worked in a number of Japanese companies with a lot of the younger generation, with a lot of Gen Z, honestly speaking, I can see their drive, I can see their passion, I can see that they actually do want to work, but they also want to improve their skills. They are scared. They're worried about what is going to happen to them. Economically speaking, Japan is not in the best of places, and they know it. All of the Gen Z know it, and they are expecting things from companies now. They want to see that those companies are going to provide for their futures. So yeah, Japanese companies are just going to have to step up. That's basically the deal. Anyway, thank you again for watching this video. Please leave your thoughts, your comments in the comment section below, and yeah, I'll be back with...
What is that thumbnail? Abused, homeless, and stinky feet?
another video. Thank you so much guys. Take care. Peace.